Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. YouTube, we're on. Let me get Instagram on. You know the drill. Make sure that my view on YouTube is still okay, and then we'll bring our other peeps on. Welcome, welcome in. Thanks for being on. All right, we're still loading here. Oh, you can see my. Okay. That should be good. No, that's too much. There we go. All right, let's do it. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome to the Clarity Hotline, clutter-free family. Come on in. Come into the space. Be with me. Breathe with me. And let's get some clarity on a few things. On whatever you need clarity on. How about that? Let's put it that way. Okay, let me get my notes. I'm on YouTube and Instagram. And as far as, my week and how it's going, I'm curious how everything's going for you guys. You guys. I say you guys because, elder millennial here. But it's comfortable for me to say you guys, but I recognize that people don't want to always be called guys, but it might be the way I say it. So, excuse me in advance for that. All right, I got my notes. Oh, happy birthday to my sister-in-law. Big shout out to her. Happy birthday. Hope your day is great if you're watching this. And Michael Jackson's legacy has just been like reignited because of the movie. And I haven't seen the movie yet, but I heard it's really, really good. And I hear the kids love it too. And they're loving Michael Jackson. So it's kind of like this resurgence of because I grew up on Michael Jackson. Like his sound is pervasive in my memories. And I think there's a chance that he'll continue to have that, right? Because they'll continue to make movies about him and maybe documentaries and things. And I know there is some kind of that seedy stuff, but I don't know. I think we're kind of we don't know enough that we're just gonna let his legacy live on. At least that's how it is for me. I mean, I let my kids watch a couple of his music videos, and I was like, okay, there's a lot of gyration. I didn't watch the bad video because we know what he does in there, but yeah, he's clean, good, clean fun. But at the same time, he's also, got some dance moves. And I'm like, okay, wait, you're 4 and 6 years old, so maybe you shouldn't be watching this. But we made it work. I had to follow through. Hi, Thea. And yeah, so just shout out to his legacy. And I say that because of the date of today. And what else is happening this week or today? So I had my masterclass on Tuesday, and we talked all about the struggle of the juggle, balancing both family and work, business in our case. Having your own business, doing the work you love in the world, right? And making money from it, like having your own business, right? There's something to that. And the twinkle in your eye when you think about that, as a creator, an inventor, a thought leader, whatever you are, right? Making something from nothing. There is an artist. That's part of the creator, in my opinion. But yeah, like you are creating something from nothing. There's purpose there and passion, right? And it's intense, and you get to be faced with how you want to rise to that every single day as an entrepreneur. So we talked about that. So there is kind of that purpose piece, and there's also the purpose piece of being a great mother, right? Being a great parent and wanting to send your kids off into the world set up for success. And we do our best, right? In both regards. They're both our babies, the business and the baby. And we love them, right? It's blood, sweat, and tears. It's a labor of love. It consumes our attention, right? These things when we set out to do something as brave as pioneer, parenting a new life or pioneer in an industry, you know, you are setting things ablaze. Not to say that you're destroying things, but you're kind of like you're a new impact. You're disrupting things as they once were, and for good reason, right? Because you're going to usher in kind of this new movement, this new thought, this new energy, and so there was a lot to talk about. We went on several tangents. If you haven't watched it, you could see it on YouTube, the replay. But yeah, we go on several. I think we talked about capitalism. We got a little too personal into my life, but no, it was good. So anyway, big breath in, big breath out. Thanks for joining me on this Clarity Hotline. We really do real life Q&A. Some of the questions that come in, I definitely make every attempt to answer them all, and really to give credit to the person who asked the question if they don't want to be anonymous. But I do have a couple questions for you today, because I think I don't know, it's just big on my heart. I definitely asked, God, what do you all need to hear today? And you might not think it will come in this package, but you'll get some clarity. So just we're going to throw out a question that I actually have for you guys, not necessarily a question you asked for me. So I'll resume some questions next week that you submitted. But if you have a new question to submit, clarityhotline.com will be the place to do that. And yeah, you can ask it anonymously by just letting me know, or you can put any handle you want, so on Instagram or YouTube. If you're commenting on this replay, or right now, but definitely on the replay because it'll stay on the video, then I can always shout you out too with your question. Okay, if that's what you'd like to do. So I gather the questions from email too, so you can let me know on email, if you want to be anonymous. But anyway, we're just answering the questions and bringing some clarity to your life. So let's breathe in clarity, right? And release out any tension or ego or obstacles or distractions that might want to get in the way of you hearing the message that you have to receive today, or that you're opening yourself up to receive today. And the more we get into kind of that methodology of breathing with that purpose, the more we kind of immediately can tune in. It works fast. The more you do it, to tap into that clarity, like, oh, okay. Because by the way, something that we talked about on the masterclass this week on Tuesday was something that's really important that I want to convey to everyone. Kind of the story of how I got out of the struggle of the juggle, like what worked for me to not feel so burdened and drowning, and makes me feel like uh, I can live with less guilt. Because I don't know about you, like mom guilt it just seeps into everything. Mom guilt, especially as an entrepreneur, you're juggling work and family, right? And yes, career for sure. But if you feel like you can clock out of that career, like you have a 5 p.m. hard out, and don't bother me, don't talk to me, don't call me at home and tell me your problems, I will not have a solution. Like I'm checked out. That's an employee. We're talking about an entrepreneur, that energy of entrepreneurship, where I own this career. I own the audience that I get, as far as like, I own my relationship to the audience, right? Like I am committed to speaking to you, right? That's what I mean by that. And whereas, if you're an employee mindset, it's, you're just a cog in the wheel. Maybe you feel like you're doing great things for that CEO at the top, and you don't have any resentment toward the way that the business is run, or the company is run, and the management and the supervisors you have no beef. Then you're in a good place, right? But if you have that inkling, like, oh, I just know there's more for me, what am I doing? Then you start to pursue that. And then you're also a mother. There's the challenge of, what's getting your attention. And so at any point, because they're so important to you and to your fulfillment in this lifetime, you can find yourself, oh, I'm torn. And in the turmoil of all that. And so it's like, oh, what do I do? What do I do? And, I will say this, and I wanted to share what works for me. And I did this on the call, and I'll do it again because, whatever. If this is all you get today, what's working for me is that in any moment, as a mother and entrepreneur, because you do have to kind of think, okay, if your kids are home with you 24/7, then it's very much like because you're stay at home or you work from home, and they have access to you because they're homeschooled or whatever, they're homesick, or it's summer vacation. Then you can kind of like ask yourself this question: where am I needed most? But even more specifically and more in tune with the moment right now to bring you present to the answer is this where I'm needed most? And if it feels like, oh, okay, independent play, you guys got your thing going, okay, I can walk away and go handle something really quick. Or I can prepare you, and I've talked many times about how to prepare your kids for a time when, such as this, when I have a clarity hotline that I do every single Thursday, 12 noon Pacific. And everybody who is part of my support network, part of my village, knows that this is happening right now and today. And so it is my son, who is home. And so I just, get to tell him, this is what I'm doing. And he gets it. And, no interruptions. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And so you can kind of cultivate that in preparation for things like this, or non-negotiables in your calendar. I'm going to walk every single morning. And so what has to happen? What do you guys have to do while I'm doing this thing? Because we're all going to be doing something, be it for our bodies or our brain or, I don't know, something. So we're going to be doing something. What are you going to be doing at this time? And that's the ideal world, right? That you trust where they are to do those things while you're doing your thing, and you're both still ascending in your respective uh, aspirations, I should say, right? Relative to our ages. But I was good. Actually, something came up for me today about that, because I would say, oh, I recognize my son is maturing in different areas. And I think maturing is the wrong word to use, because one, almost uh it feels almost chauvinistic to me. It feels kind of like superior, like a superiority of like I'm the judge of what's maturity. What is maturity? And what I mean by that is I know that I am guided, my ego in this lifetime as his mother is guided by the desire for him to find his way and make his mark on the world and be fulfilled doing it and have so much fun. And so everything and not take things too personal, really not take anything personal. I mean, really, but we're working on that. We're all working on that. And so imagine a perspective on life and a love for the world that he would have should he have those foundations, those values. And so that's where values come from, right? That's what we hope to instill in our kids are these values that we hold. And so we bring that with the ego. The ego's carrying those values, and they're just like, come on, we're doing this. And they're going to be, anyway, we're going to make this happen. And so they're right along for the ride. And, we're raising them up in that way. And the more present you are to how your own baggage, your own clutter is getting in the way of you mothering this child, the better. Okay. Can we just say that? Can we agree to that? So in this moment, I could go, probably not make a phone call, because if I had a call, I'd have to schedule it. It'd have to be in the calendar. If I have any calls, coaching calls, client calls, admin calls, I will have to schedule those, because I just don't want to be interrupted. It's useless to try to have a serious conversation, or one where you want to be present and be open for interruptions. And so you got to schedule those things. But anyway, where was I getting with that? So outside of that, right, the things that are in the calendar, you kind of have to say, is this where I'm needed most? Because many times, we're going to find that, the dinner has to be made. I got to get laundry done. The kitchen won't clean itself. And you have homework, and I have this, and I got to take my call at 8 p.m. every night. And it's bedtime. And so what do I do? How do I juggle? So then it's kind of like, okay, we take a step back. There's some structural issues there, but In any moment that's just kind of like loose, you can kind of say, is this where I'm needed most? And if your kid is really vibing with you and it's like, this is a core memory right now, or this is a moment that matters to us both, I will stay right here and play magnet tiles with my son. If it feels like, no, you're good. Okay, I'm gonna go get up and maybe announce it or don't. You feel the situation out, you walk away, you take that call real quick, or you do your thing, and then everything's cool, all kosher. And no problems have ensued in that little break. You kind of say, oh, well, this is where I- I'm not really needed right here. And so I can get up and go take care of something where, it is pressing, it is needed. I want to get it done. And I use needed loosely. Come on, just follow me here. I'm a stickler for the words I use because I know the charge that a lot of words have and how that charge triggers people to an interpretation that I might not even really be intending. And that's not for me to save face for me. That's really for you to know where my heart is. When it comes to humans, us as humans, right, outside of being mom and entrepreneur, parent entrepreneur, we can ask ourselves the same kind of question. What's needed from me? What's needed most from me in this moment? And I can guarantee you there is never a moment where the most important thing that is needed from you in any moment is love. It's there's never a moment where it's not love, I should say. There's never a moment where the what's most needed from you in any situation is not love. Like the world benefits from you coming with an open heart, open mind, just open to love. And and that is because you are love. So it connects you immediately back to who you are. And it also is kind of this reciprocity, right? We're feeding into the cycle of love and how we give what what we give we receive, and that is all we want, right? It's from the moment we're born. It's just like, okay, well, where's the womb, and tell me the first place I could go to feel that peace again. Okay, right here in your arms. Okay, this is love. This is love. This is peace. This is home. And then we start to see how those are synonymous. And anyway, I just wanted to give you those little bits of the questions to ask yourself. Is this where I'm needed most? To break out from that guilt, that mom guilt that really wants to just come and take us down. Okay, so let's get to the question. And I asked this actually the other week, and I've been since having more and more downloads ever since about it, where I said, how much of what we believe is marketing? And this is coming from your girl, marketing. I mean, dare I say a marketing badass? Yes, I will say it. But because I've studied it, I've got my master's in marketing, my bachelor's, and I've been in the marketing world since I graduated college. I don't know, since I was 8 years old, and I watched a commercial and said, I want to do this. I want to make this ad. I want to do what this is, make things like this. That I've never strayed from marketing as my I guess my zone of genius, if you want to put it in that human term, right? And kind of bringing it here to earth. Well, anyway, I recognize things like that because I don't know. I've always been a student of the mind too. Since before I was interested in marketing, I know that there's been like some depth about, whoa, how do people behave? What is it about people that makes us tick? And then it led me to, um, well, it led me to really ask, why am I the way I am? And all the questions there, like the existential crisis when you're 25, that quarter life crisis, that definitely hit me. But that was after college. So I would say I've been I've been curious about, why we do what we do. It became the why of the buy. Why do we buy? Why do consumers consume? What is it that draws us, right? And so I'm studying all this, right? And I'm pairing it to kind of not comparing it, but it's alongside my spiritual journey in life, me discovering God and what God really feels like and how he resonates with me, how God, this God force, this energy that pulsates through my blood because I am made in his image and not likeness, that I'm like, okay, how there is something here, right? And I feel it. I think we all feel it. We all feel when we're deeply connected to our source, to our center, to God, right? And it's like it is a definite vibration. It's at a higher frequency. It immediately elevates us out from despair to connect with something that powerful. And so that has kind of been what's guided me. And then I found lots of things that support me on my journey still to this day. And so this is kind of where it comes from. And so when I think about these glasses, these are blue light glasses, blue light blocker glasses. Now they're yellow on purpose, but the more I see other creators use and I talk with other creators about because we're online a lot, they have darker yellow. And I spoke with one in particular. Everyone's got the story about why the darker yellow is better. So you clearly they look like sunglasses. And so I'm like, okay, well, I need new blue light blockers because I am on the computer and I want it to be effective. I want them to work. And so it had me questioning when this person was kind of advising me, like, no, it can't look like that. It can't be this clear. It has to be yellow because that actually blocks the blue light and all maybe the other harmful lights. But I think there's a uh, I guess a legitimate madness around the blue light keeping people up, like because you notice when you use your phone, I think one, it's more the mental stimulation of what you're scrolling than just the blue light. But people say the blue light, can cause insomnia. If you're scrolling all the time, your eyes are open and it's I guess akin to like sunlight. And so you're you're spinning your meridian rhythm out of control. It's totally out of whack. Your natural rhythm of day to night, day to night, day to night. And we these are new inventions. Science or computers have um, totally wreaked havoc on our caveman sensibilities, like our beginning days, that idea of what we come from, right? When things were just simple and it was like, oh, you rose with the sun and you set with the sun. Ah, life is good. It feels so good. Like there were no problems back then. I'm sure there were. But how much of what we believe is marketing, because how much of that is just hype? The yellow, having it, needing it to be yellow, like more yellow than this, because it had me looking, it had me shopping for better blue light blockers. So if you know, let me know in the comments if you know anything about the blue light blocker business and you know maybe some science, some hard facts about it. Then I'd love to hear it because I do have a sense about what I believe, and it's enough to go out and get some darker lenses. And so you might see me one day have like after I maybe drank enough Kool-Aid of the Kool-Aid that these are going to be darker, or they're going to be completely different because I learned a few things about buying better glasses, better blue light blockers, so that I'm moving with my rhythm, and I'm um managing things because I do believe in kind of this holistic approach to life. I want to be holistically healthy, every single aspect, not just my physical form, but like, my brain and my blood and well, my heart, right? And another thing that kind of popped into my awareness was how the chakras, they go up. Ultimately, it feeds the ultimate enlightenment, right? Your third eye chakra, but it starts at the root chakra. So if you're settled in any moment along the chakra line, then along any of the seven chakras, then you will feel out of alignment. You'll feel like, oh, something's out on. And then therefore, just like the spine and chiropractic, if anything on that nervous system in your nerves is off, then you're going to feel it in your body and eventually in your bones. It's going to show up in the way that you sit, the way that you walk, the posture you have, the neck pain, the migraines. Like if something's not working, if I got plantar fasciitis in one leg and one foot, guarantee there's some hip pain in the alternate because something's hitting, right? Something's not equal. And it took me a long time. And through my study of yoga, I have recognized kind of where we're out of balance in our physical form, but then definitely it is rooted ultimately in the thought forms, right? Our mental awareness, our mental state of being. So I recognize that we need kind of that holistic approach to balancing ourselves, even the masculine and with the feminine, how we have both inside, and we can't we w- we would be doing ourselves a disservice and putting ourselves into an early grave if we deny that. If we deny that we need both, we need that balance, because then you're just resisting who you are. And so, therefore, lying to yourself, and therefore, just living a lie, and therefore, never feeling fully yourself, and therefore, unable to fully express and be creative. Be in your power as a creator in this life to create your own reality. See how all of this just jives the balance of it all, right? And that to say, like we need clarity through all of that, right? Going up the ladder of ascending to that higher place, connecting back with source and spirit and God, and touching base with who we know ourselves to be, right? I love it. My dad used to say, "Dad don't make junk." He didn't say it like that, but basically it was some way of that. But that's how I take it, because that's the truth. So, um, some notes on this marketing, because we did go into a little bit of marketing, because if you are a mompreneur, it is wise to know that some of what's being hyped around you is just hype. It is just marketing, just media trying to perpetuate an idea and get you to fall for it, get you to put your wallet down for it, and pay to buy in, right? So not only are you bought in mentally, then you start to buy in physically, emotionally, financially, right? You're giving into this uh not corporation, I bigger than that. This institution of thought, right? So you're buying into any kind of institution. Um I still love marketing because I get the game, and it's a creative, beautiful, lovely game, as is life. But it's also I think it benefits me to know, like, okay, I know, I kind of see through this. And so when it comes to wanting to buy the blue light blockers, I'm not sure I'm totally convinced yet that it is even a thing. And if my story is less of one looking outside of myself for a cure to balance all this, and more within, from within, right? Which is if you're here on the Declutters channel, that's what I believe. Everything's from within first. And then I can just change the story about, like, oh yeah, I don't need blue light blockers at all. Um, I don't need glasses at all. I see 2020. See, kind of, well, there's some efforting toward changing the identity that believes that, one, sometimes I feel like I do need my little readers. They're not readers, but I think they are like readers in that they are a tiny, tiny prescription for seeing things a little bit crisper, um, on the computer, and on a book, and I think, and even on my phone. And I think it's because I know that I do this. I'll look at my phone, and then maybe I'll look out and about. So that shift in the eye focus, it's like I'm looking close, and I know we're also just getting older over here. So there's that too. But I do recognize maybe like the acceleration of things as you start to look at your phone and you're like, reading something close, and then you're like trying to then focus out. And so there's a lot of that. And so that's probably, maybe it's not muscle strain, but like muscle strengthening. I don't know. I don't know. They said, when you're sitting at a computer all day to cl- stop this and then focus off in the distance. I think we need to blink first though. So focus here. And then if you're sitting at a computer all day, then close your eyes, reset, and then open them looking off in to the distance. I think that's a better muscle strengthening technique than forcing kind of the jarring of there's no state change, right? So blinking, I mean, is never bad. You just lubricate the eyes, you kind of reset even the mental, and you like can open your eyes to something a little bit further away, and then it's like, okay, I'm working as intended. It feels very it feels like the eye has that integrity to it where it wasn't meant to focus on these little words all the time, or these visuals, these pixelated images, and then look out into the world, even though we're going to do it. But the more you kind of stay conscious, then you're balancing, right? The default with intention, the default with like maybe a healthy habit in addition to just kind of like working your eyes to the bone. There's kind of like, okay, I'm one, by closing my eyes, I'm going within. I'm internalizing the process of like someone who protects her eyes. And my belief is just, it's within my own body to do. I'm just closing my eyes and I'm opening them. I don't have glasses on. I don't need glasses to do that practice. And if I believe that it's going to benefit my eyes and the strength of them and me having 20/20 vision well into my 80s, then I'm going to do it, right? And I could do one better and believe that that is the way it works, right? And not hear the chatter that wants to tell me otherwise. And no, you also need the blue light blockers. Oh, no, no, no. Actually, you also need eye drops. Oh, no, no. Actually, you actually need LASIK when you turn 50. No, no. Actually, you know what's even better? The carrots. You need to eat carrots. And so all of this is just feeding the story. It's feeding my story. And I am who determines my story. I tell my story, right? I tell my story first, or everyone's just going to talk at me and tell me my story for me. And then I'm just going to, you know, say that I agree, not kind of challenge that and say, actually, no, I can control the narrative here. I can decide what I believe. So I don't know. It still brings me back to the question of, am I going to get these blue light blockers? I think they're cool. I need to do a little bit of research. Um, is my ego fighting with my spirit on the idea of being fed the marketing? Absolutely, 100%. Because uh, what does the ego aspire towards? Status, prestige, uh, anti-aging techniques, beauty creams, and blue light blockers. That is what the ego wants. And I don't know if this girl's ego is going to ultimately want blue light blockers, because I do like a sunglass. I mean, I wear my sunnies. I'll say sunnies because it's cute. Um, no, I wear my sunglasses every single time I'm outside. And this started long ago when I got LASIK. And I just had super light sensitivity. And so I have become dependent on wearing sunglasses outside because I don't want a headache. I don't want a headache from the sun. And when it gets too bright, my eyes get worked. And so it affects my head. And so I definitely feel headaches coming on, and I can usually pinpoint, it's like, oh, got too much sun today. I remember being in the corporate world. I was that corporate girly right out of college, and being under those like fluorescent lights. I just made up stories to become an entrepreneur fast. But anyway, I hated those fluorescent lights, and I was my desk was perfectly positioned where I'd be looking at my computer and that light was making it right into my retina, right into the optic nerve, like just boom. And I was getting headaches, and I, for like the first time in my life. But this was also after LASIK. So it kind of coincided. And the LASIK, it would just be so bright. And so I would say, because I was told by the LASIK doctor that you could have light sensitivity and then here's what to do for it and get on Restasis and get on these eye drops and whatever. And so I would, I bought into all of that. And so anyway, that light, I was like, it's that light right there and it's killing me. And so we had the ergo team come and reposition my desk, and yeah, the headache stopped. And then I also, at one point, like had a hat that I just kind of put on if I knew I was gonna be at the computer for a long time, because that light was just, it was right there. I couldn't move cubicles, but anyway, I would wear a hat, and so it would just kind of like block that overhead lighting, and then I would dim the computer. It's a mess. It's still a little messy. It's still a little messy. I'll say that. My setup and how it has to be for me to feel comfortable working at a computer all day long. Trust me, a couple things have to. It's part of my repertoire now. Um, but anyway, what were we even saying? The light, oh, the LASIK, and then the blue light, oh, shade, sunnies. Yeah. So you might see your girl with some some yellow blue light blockers if I'm convinced. If I watch just the right ad for it and they're like this and that and that. I'm not gonna search it out. I'm gonna let the universe be like, yeah, Yvette, go ahead and get them. I'm not gonna search it out. I'm not gonna ask AI, what do you think? I want to I want to stumble upon the solution myself. Because when you think about like marketing and how brilliant marketers are, brilliant, okay, brilliant. If you could get in the room with the Mad Men peeps, right back in the day, why did that show pop off? Because it's freaking cool. I mean, you're like, whoa, the 60s, the advent of advertising, and oh man, what were they doing back then? And then these like Ogilvy, David Ogilvy, and it's so cool. I really do think it's cool. And so I loved Mad Men. When I watched it, I loved it because I was drinking the Kool-Aid. It was cool until it got like messy, really messy with his marriage. I just didn't respect the guy. It was hard to respect that guy. But I loved, and then what's her face? What's her name? The girl, the lead copywriter, and then she kind of was, she was a force, and she recognized herself to be a force. And you need those kinds of, you need those cojones, to like get beyond the patriarchy as a woman, right? In those days, and you had to stake claim to what it is that is yours, rightfully yours, right? I deserve to be in that seat in these meetings. I deserve to be lead copywriter. And anyway, just brilliant show. Brilliant minds, marketers, so many brilliant minds across the world creating and inventing and thinking their way through beautiful, cool concepts and ideas and sharing them with the world. I just love it. And let's keep it going, y'all. Artists, directors, musicians, singer-songwriters, dancers, playwrights. I mean, authors, speakers, coaches. Just it's cool. So marketers, back in the day, De Beers, the family who was in the diamond business, and they mined diamonds, and they put out the ad for diamond being the only gem, the only mineral that is worthy of a proposal. So it became the engagement band, right? And then the wedding ring. And it was how you showed your love. And then women bought into it and then wanted only a diamond ring for the proposal. Like, if you're going to marry me, if you got to get the right ring. And then it became kind of this demand, just like how kids television have ads for toys. I remember back in the day, Toys R Us, we knew the song, we could sing it by heart. The jingle, it was absolutely brilliant. And then the Toys R Us catalog, are you kidding me? Like, that was every Christmas dream. We'd get around the catalog and we'd be flipping through it and be like, I want this toy, circle it. Now it's like Amazon has a catalog. I don't know who else has a catalog or it's just full of toys, and it's for kids to kind of come up with what they want. What's their Christmas wish list? going to be? And I got all my ideas from there, and TV. I mean, geez, it was just, we were marketed to like crazy, and we were fiends for TV, 80s and 90s kids, fiends for TV. And that, hence why today I'm just such a, it's my arch nemesis with my kids. I definitely don't want them having as much TV as me as I did. And I don't know, did it do me harm? I think it influenced me, right? Are if you are having trouble with your kids, check what they're watching. It's not, yes, it's your parenting, but is your parenting involving a lot of TV? And what are they watching? What shows are they watching? What are they being influenced by? And granted, I know it's cool. The music you play is cool. The shows you watch are cool. And if they're in earshot of the lyrics and the dialogue on these shows, and the expression and the mannerisms and who's cooler than who, because that's always going to be an ego pursuit. Is like, how do I be cool in this situation? Um, do I shut up or speak up? I mean, really, it starts there. And so, what they're being exposed to really does start to lay the path for them to be just like that, right? To be just like them. And if you're having trouble with your kids and you haven't examined how much TV they're watching and what they're watching, what they're taking in on a regular basis, because maybe that's just part of um, every weeknight, then, just recognize that. Are you doing this to yourself? Are you kind of, is there something that you could, where you needed most? I'll let you answer that. Where you needed most. But anyway, De Beers created that like phenomenal campaign, and now Diamond, you can't get away from it because it serves both sides of the coin. It serves the marketers, it serves the companies, the diamond companies, and that whole industry is just trillion-dollar industry. And then it serves also the people who are seeking the status, the increase of wearing. I loved my diamond ring. I loved wearing my diamond ring, as a married person, as an engaged person, as a married person. I was into it. I still love my wedding ring and my engagement ring. And so it's like, I get it. But, and so the diamond thing serves whoever's wearing a diamond and wants a diamond, and that's it. It serves their need for that status, right? To be recognized as like in the league with the people who get the diamonds are the thing. And then you got some outliers where it's like, no, I want an emerald. Also, my fave. I love an emerald. I kind of want to save my emeralds for my other rings, and so the diamond was definitely that. And I think the diamond does give space because it is clear, and there's clarity, purity. It's clear, and it gives space for you to kind of be very eclectic with everything else. So it fits. It's not going to pull the eye, except maybe by its size and bling. It's not going to pull the eyes away from everything else. It's just colorful about you, right? So definitely just supports and attends to the image, your overall image, especially like the setting, right? And how it looks, and is it vintage or a solitaire, like modern? What is it? It's just fun. It's just fun. And then the 4Ks. Are there five? Oh no, C's. Is it C's? It's C's. The 5 C's: clarity, cut, color. I used to know. Carrot, color, cut. I don't know. Something that means, yeah, clarity, color, cut. I can't remember the other ones. If you know, shoot it in the comments. But anyway, right, and then there's this whole like framework around how to choose a diamond. And then there's a grading system, and you can scale into like V1 and V2. And I mean, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, but we do this all day long. We do this all day long to ourselves. We buy in all day long. And so anyway, it's just funny. I would just say that, we want to recognize the brilliance of marketing and use it for good. And then also use it to just kind of, you know, watch what's going on in the world, so that you won't be phased by it. You won't take it personal, because the agenda on the other end isn't about you. It's ultimately just the patting the pockets of the shareholders and you be one of those shareholders, you buy into that company and you make millions too, right? This is just a game you get to play. Choose how you make your millions. Have your hand in all of it if it suits you, if it floats your boat, if it makes you happy. um, just spread yourself around. Oh, yeah, okay, and then this was another point. So, because the diamonds, it serves both parties, then that price can keep going up, right? So, inflation doesn't hurt the diamond industry, it only helps it because the more I had to pay for this diamond, the more legit I am as far as being someone of wealth and status, right? It just proves to you that I'm somebody of wealth and status because I've got this $80,000 ring on my finger. And then I'm making, them richer because the who mined it and manufactured it and all that stuff, put their name on it. They are also getting the status increase of like, whoa, look at my net worth. Look at the stock ticker on that thing. But anyway, to that point, as far as what else I would like to leave you guys with about this topic of marketing and pricing and what's your offer, especially if you're an entrepreneur, you have an offer, you have a product or service for sale, and yeah, you what do you price it as? There is the perception of price too, right? And so people will say, price it high. You get the perception of prestige and luxury if that's the market you want to be in. Or if you want to be kind of the commodity and you have a great product for helping people in everyday life, then price it accordingly, right? So that it gets adopted by more families and is in more households. Right? It works. You get the status of like, wow, I'm in all these households. And then they get the status increase of like having something be made convenient for them, easier for them. And it all works. See how this all works? And so see how because it works for everybody, if you had the perspective that it works for everybody, and you're not taking it as a hit against you as an individual, you as a citizen of this nation, like you aren't letting it be about you in that way. So you don't identify with the game at play. You don't identify with it. You play it. You play it like the game designer you are. You play it so that you don't fall into it, that you don't become just the pawn and the person's moving you along and you're just like, okay, what now? What next? Oh, who's this? Oh, what's going to happen to me? Okay. It's very not that sounds very accepting and actually maybe kind of incentivizing to be upon instead of having to think through things like maybe somebody who is really loving the luxury of a steady paycheck, and nothing's really steady when you're not the one bringing in the money. But the steady paycheck, it might seem like a luxury to have that steady paycheck and to start out on your own. It's like, oh, I'm not promised tomorrow. I don't know what the paycheck will be. And so there, it's daunting enough to stay put in the job. But then also this kind of idea, the same idea also happens over here in the entrepreneurship world of like a steady paycheck. So you start to become reliant on your client base and who you serve and how you do it, and you don't want to disappoint anybody, and so you're beholden to another job. You did that to yourself. You created a job for yourself because you're chasing that external validation. You're chasing everybody else saying what you have is legitimate or appropriate or worthy enough to buy, instead of you deciding for yourself that this is how I want to live, this is how I'm going to see the world, and then the world just follows suit, right? The universe says, oh, okay, that's what you want. Oh, absolutely, at your command. Absolutely, here you go. There's no gray area about what you want, that you want your work to look like you having fun every day. Oh, you don't want to worry about bills, or you don't want to worry about uh yeah, bills, then okay, but see, the way I worded that sounds like now you're saying that, and there's a lack there. But the universe says, oh, you want enough money to pay this bill? Okay, here you go. Here you go. Checks in the mail. Um, and there's a process, I believe in Rhonda Burns. I love Rose Byrne. Rhonda Byrne's book, The Magic, she talks about gratitude and that whole thing. It is the magic behind manifestation. Absolutely 100%. coming from a place of gratitude. She talks about in that book, um, to have the exercise of, as you write a check, like you're writing a check for a bill. So you got to pay your mortgage, you got to pay your utilities, you got to pay the gardener. And so you're writing these checks, but as you write them out, you are giving into the circulation of flow. So the money's coming right back to you. So picture yourself writing this check to yourself, like, oh, this is coming back. I can't tell you how that works. I mean, it absolutely works. Write the check and just in all confidence, in all what is happening here, wardrobe malfunction. Um, Write the check as though you know that it's going to be returned to you in and 10x it, right? This is going to come back double. I'm going to pay this bill. I'm going to pay this contractor. I'm writing a check. I'm going to Venmo this contractor, and the money's going to come back double because I'm giving into this with a clear head, a light heart, a loving heart, right? No burden of stress and lack and limitation and scarcity thinking that this is just leaving me and never to return, but instead an abundance, right? An abundance in your thinking of, and as I put this out, I'm giving to the abundance that is coming right back because there's plenty that flows. There's plenty for everyone that flows. If you want to make money a certain way, there's enough for that person over there, person B, to make it their way. And it's as creative as you want to be. You get to create the business you want to see the money flow in from. You get to create it from every turn you take. You get to create that business and that money will come. That money gets to flow right into your pocket because you're giving into this, I guess I call it reciprocity, into kind of that circulation of flow, of money flow, of just abundance flow, of love. And all of this is just an expression of that creativity. You think putting out your best ideas is a bad thing? No, it's a great thing because they become even better ideas later. You put out your best ideas so that more, better, best ideas come. You don't stifle the flow. But we do, right? We squeeze the hose because we're like, oh, if I could just make sure that the money doesn't flow out fast, then I can catch myself and I can bounce a few, or I can float a few checks. I can buy myself a few days with this wire, and I can, whatever. Actually, wires are pretty instant, aren't they? I can just kind of float, right? And I can be playing this game. I could be playing this game of kind of dodging the bullet, or I could be playing the game of flow. I could be playing the game of like, oh man, this always comes back to me. I got more than enough. I got more than enough. In fact, I want to pay you because I like electricity and I want you to keep serving me up electricity in this house because I like to see. I like to see at night, I like to see when I need to read. I want light. And so I will give to this machine. I will give. And that's just the way that in my experience in this lifetime, that electricity or me being able to see is going to happen. Me being able to have my phone and call whoever I want whenever I want is going to happen through a telephone. And are we calling it telephone? See how like the vernacular changes? Like nobody calls it a telephone, right? It's now phone because phones look different. And when you think of telephone, maybe if you're my age and older, you think of a telephone like rotary dial, or some people even older than me think of it like plugging, calling the operator and being asked to be sent to a certain household to call your friend. And then they like would punch you in, boop, and then take you on the call. And then I think they listen the entire time. Or was that just from a payphone? They listen, they'll connect you, but then they listen to the whole call. Isn't that funny though? And then they were always probably muted. So there was never the fear of like, oh, I'm just gabbing with my girls on this side of the thing and putting the plug in the thing that you can hear me. So there was never the fear like on Zoom when you're like, oh, am I muted? Oh, is this okay? What did I just say right now that everybody could hear? It's not like that. So there was a lot more ease about that in those days. But then they also were in a box. in a box, and maybe the way the movies show it, like a dimly lit room, and they're just like smoking and plugging it in, and, wearing these really uncomfortable shoes and skirts, plugging it in. Not necessarily that cozy, right? So there's some give and take, right? When you think about, like, is the best time to be alive now? Absolutely. Everyone will say that at any point in time. The best time to be alive is right now. And that is because of all the minds that exist here, the collective that continues to rise up and show us what we're made of. I mean, I just want to be part of that world. Okay. Who's with me? All right. So that's a wrap on this Clarity Hotline. Did I miss any questions? No. Thank you for coming on. Thanks for joining me live. And I will see you next week, Tuesday, noon Pacific. And I also am going to kind of run a continuation of this past Tuesday's masterclass. I'm going to run another one on Tuesday. So if you join me live, you can join me live on YouTube or through the registration link to get on with me, like Zoom. We're going to be on Zoom. And there you have the chance to kind of engage with me and ask me questions on this masterclass. We're talking pretty much how to get rid of the juggle, and lighten the mental load. That is a big thing I want to help moms with. I want to help 1 million moms lighten their mental load. Okay. You heard it here. So if you want to see what that's all about, then come, I'm going to share all my tips and tricks. Okay. All right. Peace. All right, YouTube. Should we do like a little after hours like we did last time? I thought that was kind of fun. Do I have any notes? I did make mention on this diamond conversation about how, there is this seedy undercurrent, right? And notice it's undercurrent. It's an undercurrent, and because it's a low vibe, so there is kind of that inside of the diamond world. There's the black market, there's bribery, there's burglary, there's blood diamonds, right? It gets ugly. And you think about that as if it's it's the expense of putting diamond rings on fingers. It feels very trivial and belittling and backward. So the thing about that still, though, you hear that and it's like you immediately want to, like, advocate for the underdog, the people getting taken advantage of in the diamond industry, right? And so maybe you don't even wear diamonds because you're so appalled by what's happening kind of underneath, just to fatten the pockets, right, of the greedy Wall Street guys. And so you've got this image of what that looks like, that interplay. You can change that game up at any point, right? You can clean it up in your mind, and yeah, it feels strange to do that, right? Like, clean it up in my mind. Don't see the blood diamonds. Don't acknowledge that is happening, that really took place, and people are dying to get these diamonds into showrooms with these fluorescent lights that make it bounce off and draw the eye and just feed into this whole the controversy of the diamond industry. And we can see that, right? And it's like, and so we kind of stay in that low vibe, because in order to fight it, right, to not be a part of it, then you have to stay low vibe, because you have to acknowledge the wrong that's happening here, right? Instead of deciding that, you know what, I'm just going to focus on what's right and wrong for me, stay in my lane and do what's right for me, align with my sense of center and source and God and the divine, right, that flows. When I connect to that, it feels like love. It feels like peace. It feels like home. And so that guides me, right? When I think of when I hear the blood diamonds, I can immediately say, I can give in love. I can give gratitude for the people who haven't died, right? I can turn it around immediately in that moment as I'm hearing these stories, these atrocious stories. One, I could stop the stories, I could stop listening to, because it becomes part of my persona. If I take it on and I start to identify or personify this idea of like diamonds hurting people, right? This innocent thing that, and how people have taken it and they're fighting over it, right? You see the image of that, and we we don't have to subscribe to that story. We don't have to keep hearing it on repeat. We can almost send it love, that situation, and say, I trust God will settle this. God will clean it up. It's not for me to clean. This is out of my control. If I feel like I want to wear diamonds because I think the stone is absolutely stunning and it makes me, if I feel connected to the earth wearing this gem, then I'll wear it. Uh, and and that's kind of what's beautiful from the earth to us, right? Like rocks are beautiful. Sand is beautiful. The ocean is beautiful. Seaweed, kelp is beautiful. Trees are beautiful, right? It just kind of contributes to the beauty that I choose to see in the world. So you can kind of come at it from that angle. And all the while, you are a magnet for more of that truth, more of the people who are doing good things with diamonds and ending the blood diamond black market trade, right? And making and being part of this kind of fair trade exchange that happens between countries, right? That kind of that idea of supporting fair trade in our import exports. Like I want to make sure you're doing right by our standards in America, otherwise I won't buy from you, so that is, so there's that end, and then there's also kind of the taxation and that level of fair trade, and again, all subject to somebody's objective, right? It's very subjective. um you can't get out from under it being subjective. So anyway, I would just suggest trying it on for size where you are not taking marketing personally. Okay. I think that like ties it up with bow for these after hours, these hotline after hours. Thanks for coming on live. I will see you next week, Thursday, 12 noon Pacific. Peace, you two.